How's everybody doing? So, finally getting on to, well, actually I'm not off of section 2 yet. This has become section 3 once I pass this point. And I just added this with Fast Mesh, this terrain extension, which is this area right in here. Part of this, well actually, no, it's actually more up here. Right where my paintbrush is, like this section right here. Here's the driveway into Ipex Plastics. This is what this section is right here. And the driveway is right here. So yeah, so I was gonna say it feels like 10 years ago since I started this layout, but it's only been just over 3 years. And I'm just going to paint this up to this plate. I'll talk to you about this paint in a second. This, excuse me, this plate here, I don't know if I showed this, but see this here? Like this is a 1/4 inch Baltic birch varathaned both sides. In fact, I had to put weights on it to make sure that it stayed straight. Sometimes you got to watch it. If you varathane one side, like it'll warp. So you got to do both sides. So do it on wax paper or something, but just make sure that when you really slather on the varathane on your, especially 1/4 inch, that you do both sides so when it shrinks, the board stays straight. You can put weights on it too over time, but this has been sitting here well seasoned for a while. So I'm going to build the whole Ipex Plastics industry on this. I'll take it right down to my bench. And I just wanted to make sure it fit in there nice. It's sort of framed in. And then this, sorry if I was off camera there a bit. This part here, this is where the fence will be. Like there's a fence right here, a chain link fence, okay? And a gate, and then the tracks over here you can see further down. I'll show you more photos of this as we go along, but this is basically just going to be grass. So I'll get the static grass applicator out here. It's short mowed grass. Now this is just to me earth paint. I wouldn't recommend to use this like for large areas. I always work like small postage stamp scene, or you know, small areas, right? Like through this whole layout. That's the way I've done it. Now, over where the farm, like the barn is, like the field there, that will eventually slope down to the Milner grain ops. Like I like to use this golden. This is raw umber. You know that I could probably paint the terrain like this kind of terrain on this whole layout with just this bottle, because I dilute it. Like a lot of people don't realize that. I'll just say this part in closing on this, but people buy the cheap dollar bottle. They, oh, I can buy that paint for $1. It's total junk paint. Like it fades, it looks great. Like it looks horrible. Like I've seen layouts that use craft paint, and when I look at them, they have this gray look to them. Like even though they've used greens, browns, and whatever, it just has a gray look, you know. And that's what you get with cheap paint. But if you use really good quality paint, it goes 10 times further, and it holds its color fast, like indefinitely, meaning the actual tone and strength of the color stays, like even under UV lighting. A lot of this is UV rated. So, you know, that's why I use it. Okay, but don't go painting your 4 square feet of you know, terrain that you're going to static grass with with Tamiya. But I dilute this with water. I'll just say, like when I use it on terrain with a brush, I just mix it with water, you know, as thin as I can get away with, okay? Okay, let's put down a little bit of static grass here. So this has been, this surface, I don't know if I mentioned it, was fast mesh, okay, or sculpt-to-mold or cell clay, just over plywood, just to create some texture, undulations in the terrain, and then painted it with earth. And now I'm just going to take some straight matte medium and a wet brush, and I'm just going to spread this around. I might as well overlap it right onto the existing that I did before in the spring or whenever that was, and I did that. Now with static grass, sometimes, I've talked about this before, it's a strange phenomena. I think it has something to do with humidity or something on how it works. Excuse me. Sometimes it just works like magic, like just unbelievable. You notice that? And then sometimes it's like, oh, come on, stand up, would you please? So I use the vacuum trick. Somebody mentioned about the vacuum not working. You got to get the vacuum, take the fitting off, and you got to hold it just the right height above, and it'll actually pull the static grass up. If it doesn't stand up to your liking, but you can always redo it anyway. This looks pretty good here. Now what I've done here is I've just taken the alligator clip, see this? And I put a piece of copper tube, and I took a couple zap straps just to clamp that alligator clip down tight onto the copper so I can just touch it as I'm doing it. Okay, so that means it's on. And let's, sorry for the noise, but let's see how it works today. Well, it looks like it's working okay. Yeah, I don't know why it is. This grass patch here, when I did the other one, it worked perfectly. And once again, it's working really well. Wow. Okay. You got to watch that copper. Don't grab that when you turn it on. You'll get a shock. Wow, see? Look at that, eh? It looks awesome. Okay.